An electromagnetic pulse has just been generated, injecting a decompression agent. No, the level's not dropping. A spatial meltdown is inevitable. My lord, it's too late! We've got to take shelter!
Why so loud? Why do you refuse to listen to my voice? Father! Elise!
Is that? Flame. It's Iblis!
And the Black Shadow is the original Mephiles.
That's Mephiles? They're escaping!
We'll have to split up. I'll pursue Mephiles.
Okay, then leave Iblis to me.
Wait. Seal it with this.
Hurry!
I just noticed that in that cutscene, just as it ends, that the young Elise's legs are actually in the air. But anyway, I apologise for the length for the previous video. Guess what happened? So, I had to start back from the just before Radical Train again, which had its positives and its negatives. Firstly, yes, there was another upgrade I can get to Shadow. I can give to Shadow, another Chaos Shard. So I can now also do the Chaos Spear, I believe it's called. Which is pretty much an upgraded version of the Chaos Lance. When I fill up the meter, I'll show it off. Yes, the guards do say that you can go through because you are an agent of gun. Well, two of them do. The other one just says, if you see anything suspicious at the train station, please let us know. I ended up getting a B rank in Radical Train because I died, which means that S rank no longer counts. And I ended up getting an S rank on the Battle with Silver because I was able to turn up the volume. So I got an S rank on that, which means you guys have seen the worst version of that. The best version of Radical Train, but the worst Silver compared to what's been happening off screen. Come on, Shadow. So now I can get into proper detail about this motorbike. So, this thing controls fairly similar to the buggy with two main differences. Firstly, this thing has a machine gun, a rapid-fire machine gun rather than just firing two missiles, which doesn't home in on anything. It does run out quite quickly. It does take a little bit of time to fill up again. Come on. Touch damage. Come on. It's not enough. This normally works. Okay. The other main difference, the controls on this thing are so ridiculously precise. There's a town mission that requires you to drive this thing between a bunch of cones, and you really notice the issue with the precise controls there. The motorcycle is my second least favourite of Shadow's vehicles. I'll take this over the hovercraft, but at least I can get a bit more control in steering that thing. But the acceleration very rarely works. There are times where I've been mashing the X button and nothing's happened. But the controls are so precise. Now, I have a little bit of trouble manoeuvring the buggy because I don't think its controls are quite as precise enough. It's a bit slow when it comes to steering, but this makes you love the buggy because it's so easy to just go off in the wrong direction. It feels so precise, like that. See, I'm barely turning the analog stick, and it is that precise. Because, look at this. And I'm not even turning the analog stick. I am keeping the analog stick still. I am just pointing it in like a downwards left sort of direction. And it just keeps doing those really precise turns. It's so precise it's not even going in a circle. That is why I hate the motorbike so much. I am not moving the analog stick at all here. It is just... Shadow can just steer around in a circle like this because it's so precise that you don't even need to turn the analog stick around. Really, you're better off in that section just not bothering with the motorcycle. I was just using it to explain it. And obviously, like we did with Silver's story, we now need to take control of Silver in order to proceed through this area, because they couldn't be bothered to just come up with new level design for Shadow to help him get through. And I don't know, why does the Iblis worm purse itself when it comes out of the ground here? Is there an explosive crate that I didn't see? I don't know. Anyway, Aquatic Base for Shadow, it's not his shortest stage, but compared to Sonic and especially Silver, Aquatic Base is fairly short. It doesn't take me as long as it does for the other characters. And you know, I like that. The stage is pretty samey for all the characters, and to have at least one that doesn't take so long to go through, you know, I like that. Unfortunately, I'm probably also not going to get the S rank here again, because I had a nice 140 rings, which is rare in Aquatic Base, and I liked that. And what I was trying to get through before I realised the recording had gone wrong, was that I know there's many of them, but it was one of the many inconsistencies with Sonic games, in both 2D and 3D. The Sonic series is quite inconsistent when it comes to ring loss. Because in this game, if you get hit by a machine gun, every single bullet will make you lose a ring. But when you either collide with an enemy or a hazard, or you get hit with something like a missile, or any sort of attack like that, any bigger attack, then you will lose all of your rings. And that's something that's quite inconsistent with Sonic games. Because, and by the way, this is the only one that comes up immediately. It's inconsistent because in Sonic 1, 2, CD, and 3 and Knuckles, you only ever lost... you always lost all of your rings, regardless of how many you had, and then some of them would just fall through the floor, and you could always pick up others, but, you know, eventually they were, even if you only ever lost one, because you were only able to pick up one, that one would always eventually fall through the floor. I don't know about Knuckles Chaotix or Sonic Pocket Adventure, because I haven't played those games, but I believe Triple Trouble was the first game in the series in which after taking damage, you won't lose all of your rings. I don't remember how many you lost. I think it was 30. But you didn't lose all of them. But you still do in Sonic 3D Flicky's Island or Sonic 3D Blast. You lose all of your rings in that game. But you don't lose all of your rings in Sonic Blast for the Game Gear. And unfortunately, because of the placement of those enemies, I wasn't able to show off what the Chaos Spear does. Hopefully in the next section. And I'm worried. I'm just going to wait for this thing to go down just in case I get that thing with the Chaos Snap here. That's what you're supposed to do with Sonic as well. I had Sky Gem, so I didn't need to. So, for the first 4 games, you lose all your rings. That's fine. They're the first 4. And that also applies to the first 3 8-bit games. So that's like 7 games where you didn't lose any of your rings. Sonic 1, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which I count as one game, and Sonic Chaos. you lost all of your rings in those games, but as of Triple Trouble, you only lost some of your rings. That continues with Blast, but then when you go back to 3D Blast, you lost all of your rings again. You lost all of your rings in Sonic Adventure. You lost all of your rings in Sonic Adventure 2, Advance, Advance 2, Heroes, Advance 3. But then in Shadow the Hedgehog, every time you get hurt, you only lose 10 rings. But in Sonic Rush, which was released on the same day as Shadow the Hedgehog, you lose all of your rings. I don't know if maybe it's because different developers. If Rush was Dimps, whereas Shadow the Hedgehog was Sonic Team. But I don't know how Riders does. I don't know how the Riders games do it because I haven't played those games. I don't know what happened there. Hello, die. Thank you. I don't know how the Riders games handle rings. I haven't played those games yet. I don't know the 360, so 3 Riders is out of the question, and I'm not exactly disappointed about that. And I don't remember how Rivals does it. But, you know, you had a series that always made you lose all of your rings whenever you took damage. Then you make 2 games. And I don't know who makes the 8-bit games, because I don't think it's Sonic Team. But you make 2 games where you don't lose all of your rings, you only lose a certain number of them. And, you know, I like that. I like the fact that you don't lose all of your rings. I prefer it that way. Some might say it eliminates the challenge a bit. I don't care. Oh, that's all of them. Right, if you're fast enough, that should wipe out all of those as well. But then you go ahead and make a load of other games. Again, I'm not sure about Knuckles Chaotix and Sonic Pocket Adventure. But then you go ahead and make Sonic 3D Blast, where you lose all of your rings. Then you do the same thing with Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 and all of the advanced games and Heroes. And then you make Shadow the Hedgehog, where once again you don't lose all of your rings. In fact, you only lose 10. I think that's the lowest in the entire series. But then you release a game on the same day where you do lose all of your rings. So it's that inconsistency that bugs me. And then in this game, you lose rings in 2 different ways. Although, because only a few enemies have those machine guns, they may as well have just made you lose all your rings. Because that's what's going to happen to you for the most part. And then Secret Rings then gives you a ring cap, which you can upgrade. And again, you only ever lose some of your rings when you take damage. But then, you know, when Unleashed came out, in both versions, you only ever lost some of your rings. But I don't think it really worked on like a set number in that game. It was more like a percentage. Because whenever you took damage and you had a lot of rings, you then lost a lot of rings. But if you didn't have that many rings, you actually didn't lose that many. So I think it worked more on a percentage. Colors did the same thing, as did Generations. But in Sonic 4 Episode 1, because we're going more by classic standards, which is fair enough, you lose all of your rings again, as does Episode 2. I don't know what the handheld versions of Colors and Generations do. I think they make you lose all of your rings. I'm pretty sure Generations does. Colors, off the top of my head, I don't remember. And then, when it comes to Sonic Lost World, you lose all of your rings again. You know, just straight back to 0. Which I think applies to both versions. I know it applies to the Wii U version, despite the fact that for the past 5 console Sonic games minus Sonic 4, you lost all of your rings. You didn't lose all of your rings. I'm counting Black Knight in that. That does pretty much the same thing as Sonic and the Secret Rings. You know, only fairies. It's just inconsistent.
Chaos control!
What? Stop. Who Who are you?
I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow. Your face. Your form. I will remember. Your death. Certain. You will die.
At least it didn't break that time.
Did you do it?
Yes. And you?
Yes. The flames are properly sealed. It's done. You're going to leave it behind?
Yes. I already know what becomes of it in the future. It's time to return.
Yes, of course. Chaos Control!
Now he doesn't give her the emerald. Pay close attention to Silver's hands. He was carrying the emerald in his hand. I don't know why he doesn't give it to Elise in that cutscene. You'd think we wouldn't even be seeing Silver. It's not his story, but he clearly jumps in there with the Chaos Emerald still in his hand.
You're back sooner than I expected. Omega is still in pursuit of Mephiles. So, where's the kid? What did you find 10 years ago?
I need you to access GUN's database. Specifically, find out what materials the Scepter of Darkness was made from.
Sure. But you haven't answered my question yet.
I found the means to seal Mephiles.
Before I end here, I have a few points I would like to bring up. Firstly, finishing with that ring thing, Sonic Boom handled them differently. Well, Rise of Lyric, I forget how Shatter Crystal does it. I haven't played Rise of Lyric, but I am aware that it's pretty much a health bar. Secondly, if Shadow took the Scepter of Darkness with him, Eggman never would have gotten his hands on it, and thus Mephiles wouldn't have been freed. I'm not sure how that would have impacted Iblis, but it would have had a big impact on Mephiles. Oh, okay. I was wondering what happened there. I thought the game froze. Okay, I didn't even know this. I completely forgot that this mission was even here. Save the archaeologist. Okay, so it turns out Shadow does have at least one mandatory town mission. Okay. So, that caught me off guard. Thirdly, just as I said the same with Blaze in Silver Story, when Shadow came back to the present, how did she know when and where he was going to appear? Fourthly, how did she know that Shadow had gone back in time to begin with? Fifthly, how did she know that Shadow encountered the young Elise, or was she referring to Silver and simply called him a kid? And how did she know he went back 10 years ago? So many plot holes. So many things not properly thought through. And for once, I'm actually able to homing attack an enemy into another enemy to defeat them. Why can't that always happen? But why did that happen? That doesn't normally happen. But yeah, we are now dealing with Solaris monsters in the present day. Although one of Shadow's side missions does that. Look, 35 seconds. What was the point of that? One of Shadow's side missions right when he begins his story, I think it's before you even access Kingdom Valley, you do fight Solaris monsters, which doesn't make any sense. We haven't even freed Mephiles by that point. So, I don't know how that works. By the way, recreating the Scepter of Darkness is the easiest thing in the world. It's completely and utterly pointless. Yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world.
Perfect.
I don't know how it works, but somehow we're able to create a new Scepter of Darkness in a very bizarre way. And all it does is require us to make a few flames around a fountain. That is all we have to do. It's not exactly as effective as the original Scepter of Darkness, but you know, we're creating a new Scepter of Darkness via creating flames around a fountain, which is just weird. So now let's go and do just that. Unfortunately, it isn't that fountain. It's a fountain all the way over on the other side of the hub world. Oi, get out of the way! Out of my way! And, well, the best part about this actually is the aftermath. The result of collecting the Scepter of Darkness. In what is certainly one of the best things about this game, and also one of its biggest failings. So what do we have to do? I don't know if I need to upgrade. No, I don't. Okay. What you need to do is just Chaos Spear the tops of this fountain that somehow creates purple flames. And once you've done all of them, it means that you can now collect a new Scepter of Darkness. So, take it away, Gun Commander!
Now I can finally stop Mephiles.
Gun Commander! Yoo-hoo!
Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to the Wave Ocean, head to Wave Ocean. Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to Wave Ocean immediately.
He says his line, gets it wrong, realizes he got it wrong, and says the line again. Look, even if you're editing with Windows Movie Maker like I am, which sucks, that is like 2 seconds of editing, and they really couldn't edit that out. How rushed was this game if you can't even edit that out? Because that is one of the worst things in this entire game right there. Because it is so simple to edit. I imagine. I don't know, I'm not a voice acting editor. But, you know, I can edit stuff out if I get it wrong, so I don't think it can be that bad. 2 seconds of editing, I would say. And they just completely left it in. I don't know. By the way, no light speed dash, you can just go straight over here. And Rouge still falls in. Oh my god, seriously, that was just plain lazy. I'll see you guys at Wave Ocean.